We're not live yet. Welcome to the NBA Carousel, brought to you by Sideline Sports in conjunction with Fantasy and Flavors. I'm Megan Price, your host and Spurs representative. Spurs took a beating last night against the 76ers, 134-99. We were short DeMar DeRozan, but they were also short Embiid, who will be out for a couple of weeks after hyperextending his knee Friday night against the Wizards. The Spurs have won 2 out of the last 5 games that were crammed into last week. San Antonio ranks 5th in the hardest second half of the schedule. So this struggle to win combined with exhaustion is not really surprised. But let's move on to a team that's making a ton of noise in this year's Rookie of the Year race. We have Will Vogel covering the Charlotte Hornets. Hi, Will.
Hey, Megan.
How are you doing today?
It's a good day to be a Charlotte Hornets fan. It's a good
day. Absolutely. Y'all been on a bit of a win streak. Your rookie's playing really well. I was looking at y'all's stats last night, or was it from yesterday? No, Saturday, your game against the Toronto Raptors. And, those 4 names that we bring up a ton, LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Malik Monk, Devontae Graham, those are y'all's top scorers in that game. So talk to me about that game.
Well, that game was just amazing. We started off hot. It was awesome. Couldn't be a better first quarter. We hit 11 three-pointers in the first quarter. 11.
Very cool.
Sure, we ended with 21, but 11 in the first quarter?
Oh, yeah. You guys got hot.
Wow. What a start.
Right, definitely. Okay, so your top scorer from that game was LaMelo, who had 23 points, 6 assists, and 9 rebounds. 9 rebounds, that's huge. I feel like that's where he changes the stat line being a rookie. As far as Rookie of the Year, that's like the difference maker, because Anthony Edwards is scoring points, but LaMelo is bringing it from all different directions.
And Anthony Edwards, if I'm not wrong, just recently had an injury. A little one.
I'm not sure on that.
Or
so maybe
shaken up. I saw him, he was shaken up.
Oh, okay. After a hard fall?
Yeah. LaMelo puts up almost triple-double stats per night or double-double. He has the categories put down. Sure, Anthony Edwards is averaging more, but LaMelo does every category while Anthony Edwards just does points. And,
agreed. I don't think Anthony Edwards is always leading. I think it goes back and forth about a point. So they're pretty closely like the same tier as far as it comes to points. But that difference maker is the boards, the assists, blocks, steals.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so then your next highest scorer is Terry Rozier. He had 17 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. And then Devontae Graham had 17 points, and Malik Monk had 16 points. So you also had 2 other players that were in double digits. You had Cody Zeller had 10 points, PJ Washington had 11, and then Gordon had 9 points. So, you still have a ton of backup. You have a little bit of bench depth right there. Is what I'm seeing from that.
Our bench depth is great because Devontae Graham is used to be coming off the bench when he was behind Kemba Walker. So it's not that bad. Like, sure, you don't want to lose your spot to a rookie, but I think they get along well, LaMelo and Devontae. And Devontae probably doesn't mind leading the second unit as long as he gets minutes.
We have one of the greatest 6 men in probably the history of the NBA, Manu Ginobili, who doesn't play anymore, but he's just one of the greatest 6 men that was ever out there. I feel like if he was on any other squad, he would have been starting. But to play that role, that 6th man coming off the bench, just to keep your bench just as good as your starting lineup. If not, just maybe like half a step back from what your starters are. That's super important. I feel like that will take you to the playoffs, and it looks like you guys are headed that way.
Yes, for sure.
You guys are at number 6 right now, and you're 19-18, so you're right above 500. That's huge for you guys. Like, it's been a while, right?
It's been a while since the playoffs, and we're playing right now.
Right. You're right.
Yeah, we're playing the Kings right now.
You're playing the Kings right now? Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure it's halftime or almost halftime.
Okay. And what is the score?
Last time I checked, they were up by like 4, but I think we'll win this game. But the rest of the schedule is tough this week.
And I can relate. I can relate to that. The Spurs have a tough second half of the schedule, so completely.
We have the Kings tonight, which I think will win. We have the Nuggets, who are shaky. We have the Lakers on Thursday, and then we have the Clippers on Saturday, and they're all away games.
Yeah, that's a tough little stretch for you guys. Today might kind of be that gimme game. Then you got to rest one day, and then you have to, play the Nuggets, who, as you said, they're shaky. You never know, but if they had a rough game before playing you guys, expect them to play well.
Exactly, right? And then Thursday, you're playing LeBron.
Right.
And then Saturday, you're playing the Clippers, who actually are as of late, lost 4 of the last 5. So you don't know what Clippers. You don't know what Clippers team is going to show up. It could be the Kawhi and Paul George, where they're both getting like 30-plus points, or 130, 120. Or you could just get the one that has lost for the last 5.
I think what they're doing over there is load management. I think that's what the Clippers have going on. I think they're just trying to preserve their superstars. Paul George had a shaky year. He had an injury that we thought was actually going to keep him out until April, and he was able to come back. So I'm sure that, Tyronn Lue is probably like, hey, you can't play every game. It's not going to happen every single game, but we want you in there. We want to win enough to maintain our home court advantage for the playoffs, but I don't think that they're worried about being number 1.
And that's what I said when I was doing that debate about Utah against Clippers. Right. If you remember, I said their load management is killing them.
Right. Okay. And so after that, are you going to, do you know who you play next after that, or are you not sure?
I'm not sure. I can't remember who.
Okay, and so today, with it being like a 4-point game, what do you need? What do you need from the Hornets in order to finish with something that's comfortable? As you've been watching the game, who has the majority of the points?
I actually haven't been watching the majority of the game. I just got home a little while ago. I was actually hanging out with a friend, but I just want to see us try and shut down De'Aaron Fox. I was looking at the game while at my friend's house, and Marvin Bagley was going off in the first quarter, which is kind of weird because I was like, it's not Fox, or Fox, I think, had 8 points at halftime and then healed. Right. So shut down shut down Fox, shut down Bagley. You'll win.
Awesome. Well, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, what else you have going on this week, and we'll see you back next week.
Okay, guys. So follow me on Facebook at Will Vogel, Instagram WVogs, WVOGS, and then look for me on the NBA Carousel on Monday nights. I'll either be covering the Utah Jazz or the Charlotte Hornets, and then Saturday or Friday nights, it just depends, the Sip-Off. Is it on Friday or Saturday this week?
It's on Saturday this week.
Okay, just let me know if you need me, like I said.
All right. Thanks, Will. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to another team in the East, and that is the Milwaukee Bucks. We have Cool McCain, their representative. If not Cool, then I think we have Jordan Long next for Phoenix. Hi, Jordan. We got a little bit switch in our schedule. How are you doing?
I'm good, Megan. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Oh man, I just looked at you guys' stats, and so the game you're coming off of is a loss to the Indiana Pacers.
It was probably one of our worst games in recent memory. I mean, we were down 20 in the fourth quarter, and we were outscored every quarter up to that point. We definitely tried to come back, but when you're down 20 going into the fourth, it's not usually a good bet, but we outscored the Pacers 34-25, but lost 112-111. Or 122-111.
122, 111. You know what? And you guys had spread the points around quite a bit. You know, you have Bridges who had 14 points. You have Aiton who had 14 points. Book had 20. I'm not sure. I hope I say this guy's name right. Sarek had 17 points. Nader had 14 points. Hope I didn't butcher that guy's name. So, you know, you had at least 5 players in double digits. So what do you feel like was missing?
Well, we couldn't stop Sabonis. Not many people can stop Sabonis.
Right.
I mean, he had 13 rebounds, 10 assists, and the 23 points. Or 22, which hurts us. But they also had Malcolm Brogdon, who had 25 points. You're looking at that. That's 47 points from the 2 stars right there. That is hard to cover.
Right, absolutely. And I saw that Kaminsky had a slow game as well. So, and he only had 13 minutes. Is that just from his slow production, or did he have any injuries that game?
He's been healthy. I think right now we want to see Jay Crowder get more points at the power forward than Frank Kaminsky.
Agreed. Jay Crowder kind of had a slow game as well. He only had 2 points. Payne had 9 points, so that's exciting. You guys play the Grizzlies today at 9. Any anticipation? What do you expect from that game?
You're coming off a loss, so you have to play better, especially since we didn't shoot the ball very, very well from the 3. And there's nights where we go off, and there are nights that, you know, we don't play very well. But this is our 3rd game from the All-Star break, so hopefully we can actually play better off of a loss. And we tend to do better off of a loss because the old thing is you learn more from a loss than you do a win. So hopefully we can actually make the 3-pointers, get down low, out-rebound them, and not let the Memphis Grizzlies go off.
Which is very you know, they have that capability for sure. But you guys are 2nd in the West right now. You're 25-12, so it's not – you don't have many losses, you know, and you're playing great. And you guys didn't lose to a bad team. The Indiana Pacers are a great team. They may not be that team that wins the East, but they're definitely that team that keeps people going to the finals in the East, in my opinion. You know, they're going to make it to that 2nd round, and they're going to keep people from going to the finals.
That's certainly true. The Pacers with their outside shooting, and you have Sabonis down low who can do pretty much everything and shoot outside. I would definitely agree with you with the fact that the Pacers are a dangerous team.
That's why he won the skills contest. I know they kind of got some flack for a big man winning the skills contest, but I think Sabonis is just that good, you know?
He is really good. I got to see him when he actually played the Nuggets last year before the COVID break, and he had a triple-double in that game. And I saw exactly the same thing. He's really athletic. He can do everything you ask, just like a small guard.
Awesome. And so after the Grizzlies today, you guys play the Timberwolves on Thursday, who, even though that's a rough team, you have not a tough team, a team that's struggling. They're the worst in the West, but they have a hot shot rookie right now. So never know if he's going to have a standout game against you guys. And if they actually come together as an offense, they might actually play you guys decently.
That's certainly true. And we actually play them back-to-back before we play the Lakers, so we can't look too far ahead. And luckily that's at home, and we tend to play better at home than on the road. But you're certainly right. Minnesota hasn't played well this year. Like you said, they're last. But it's a team you can't overlook. You overlook and you play to their ability, Minnesota's going to find a way to beat you.
Agreed, because I think they're coming off a win or a close game. Who did they play? They played somebody last night, and it was a close game. I'm not sure if they won or if they lost by like 1 or 2 points. So definitely keep an eye out for them, especially as that rookie is shining right now. And then after that, as you were saying, you have the Lakers on Sunday. Anticipation for that game?
We just have to go in there and beat the champs again. I think we beat them before the All-Star break. So if we can go in there, even though if they don't have Anthony Davis, you still have LeBron James. And James can get Caruso going. We just have to play a sound defense, can't let them out-rebound us. We have to box them out. You can't allow the Lakers to have second-chance points because of LeBron James. And he's going to be the X factor in that game.
Absolutely. And every now and then, Schroeder, now he's playing second-hand man right now. So his points are looking really good. He's not that third piece in the offense right now. He's that second piece. He's that right-hand person to LeBron at the moment. So his points are looking really good. And you never know if he might stand out on you guys. I don't think that you're going to have a whole lot of issues with the lane coverage. Marc Gasol is not standing out a whole lot. So, if Booker can stay – if he can guide the ball to where y'all need it right there into that, void in the center coverage right there, I think that would be where y'all would be able to beat them.
I would agree, especially with Chris Paul and maybe a pick and roll to hit Booker in the lane. I mean, that's what we need to keep doing, is get Paul to keep doing what he's doing with the assists. He doesn't need to have points. He just needs to be the assist man and get our offense set up.
Well, in that game against Indiana, he had 10 assists. He had 8 points, 10 assists, and 4 rebounds. So, that's where he was shining at, obviously. And even though Devin is, one of y'all's guards, he's so big. You know what I mean? He makes it into the center lane himself.
Oh, you're right. He is fast for a bigger guard.
Right, absolutely. Well, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, your own show, blogs, let everybody know, and we'll see you back next week.
Thank you, Megan. You can find me on Twitter at SportsScoop1, and I also have my own blog that I write Monday through Friday at sportsscoop.com, sports-scoop.com.
Thank you so much, Jordan. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move over to another team in the West, and that's the Golden State Warriors. We have Steve, their representative. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Megan, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Oh, doing great. Looking forward to another great week of basketball.
Absolutely. Were you at practice just now?
Yeah, I just finished it up, and now I'm outside my daughter's dance and
okay.
getting ready for a big game tonight. So
awesome. Okay, so you guys have to play the Lakers tonight at 9:30. Ooh. So what are your expectations of this game?
Yeah, got the Lakers on ESPN on national TV, 10:30 for us in the Eastern time zone. So obviously it's going to be a late night, but it should be a great game. The Warriors are coming off of a nice win yesterday, 131-119 over the 1 seed, the Jazz. So playing a little bit of a back-to-back is a little troubling. Obviously the Lakers don't have Anthony Davis, at least for another 3 weeks, unfortunately for them. But it's a game that's really important for the Warriors, obviously, because that West is still jam-packed. They're currently ninth. They're one game out of technically the 8th and the 7th seed, because the Mavs and your Spurs are tied technically right now at 7 and 8. Right. So San Antonio's at 7 due to tiebreak, but they're one game behind those two teams, and they're only one game ahead of Memphis, who they play twice this week on Friday and Saturday in a back-to-back. So they have a really important week. They play Houston in between LA and they're back-to-back with Memphis. So they have a really, really important week, sitting only at 20-19, 4-6 in their last 10. Yesterday was a whole lot of positives, though. Steph was, of course, Steph. He had 32, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. Actually, on his 33rd birthday yesterday, he had 32 points. But it was the supporting cast, if you will. Wiseman had a great game. Wiggins had a great game. And Draymond Green had a triple-double with 11 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists. And when obviously you're not going to always get a triple-double, but when he can be around the 8 to 12 points, rebounds, and assists range instead of 4 or 5 points, rebounds, and assists, the Warriors obviously have a much better chance of winning. So tonight it's going to be tough. The Lakers, obviously, they're coming off a win against Indiana, where Kyle Kuzma played really well. He had 24 points and 13 rebounds. So he kind of stepped up and used the most of his opportunity. So it's going to be a tough game. Truthfully, I kind of think they are 1-1 against the Lakers so far this year. So this is the rubber match, if you will. Right. I don't think they're going to win this game, truthfully. But Houston, of course, on Wednesday is a must-win, obviously, because Houston this year. And then the Friday, Saturday back-to-back with Memphis, obviously extremely important since they're right there in the thick of things. So you have to at least split the home and home, or the It's actually both at Memphis, but you have to at least split the back-to-back with the Grizzlies. And obviously you have to beat Houston, and then you beat the Jazz yesterday. So if you can go 3-2 on a week where you play Memphis twice, the Lakers, and the Jazz, that's pretty good.
Right. Yeah, I agree. If you split the schedule like that, if you do happen to give the Lakers the game, that's not exactly surprising, but I think y'all have the ability to win this game, especially if Kyle Kuzma had a really hot game the game before. He's not always known to keep it completely consistent, like just back-to-back super hot games. And they're just kind of out of sync at this moment without Anthony Davis. So you don't know if you're going to get that consistent play, not only from Kuz, but the rest of them. So, on the off chance the Lakers win, I definitely think you beat the Rockets and split the Grizzlies. I do give the Grizzlies some credit. Ja Morant he's amazing.
Oh, John Morant is incredible. You don't want to say it, but if he played somewhere besides Memphis, people would be talking about him a lot more.
Right.
About him now. He is an incredible player. Super fun to watch. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching those games because I love watching him play.
Absolutely.
And they have some other nice pieces. A rookie who I've known for a long time, Xavier Tillman, has actually given them some really good minutes. But they're a good team. But John Morant is gonna, take them where they need to go. I'm hoping that's still at least 1 year away, and they're not quite ready yet this year to get that playoff seed. But
right.
The Warriors can still hang on because, especially right now, with the Jazz and the Suns as the 1 and 2 seeds, and the Lakers and Clippers at 3 and 4, you have to feel a lot more confident if you are the Mavs, Spurs, or Warriors,
right,
getting 7 and 8 seed. No disrespect to the Jazz and the Suns. Obviously, they're good teams. They're having great years, but they still haven't been there before. They still don't have that championship.
Right, agreed.
Where obviously the Lakers are the defending champs, and the Clippers still have Kawhi Leonard, who's won in multiple places, and
right.
Thing like that. So if I was the Mavs, Spurs, or the Warriors, who's ever in that 7-8 seed, obviously you're hoping that it's Utah or Phoenix, especially, well, really both teams. They're going to shoot a lot of threes, and
right, absolutely.
Jump shooting teams, when their shots are falling, it's great. But if you go on a cold spell, you don't look so good anymore. So,
right.
If I'm in the Golden State, I want to just stay right around that 7-8 seed and try to get one of those two teams and avoid the Lakers and Clippers at least until the second round. And then they would probably, bow out unless something crazy happened. And then they could just, get Clay back next year and hopefully move forward.
I really think Utah and Phoenix make it to the finals. That's kind of what I think. If it's not them, I don't have the Lakers doing it unless I just see something astronomical out of Anthony Davis. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Lakers are just kind of out of sync because AD's not there. And they'll come back with full force. But I got a feeling we're going to see a finals that doesn't include a LA team. And I think the Spurs' ability to make it to a further in the playoffs, I wouldn't put us in the Western Finals, but if right before then, I would say it just depends what we do before the trade deadline. We we're parting ways with our big man. We're letting LaMarcus Aldridge go. And I'm
really sad about that.
I don't want to talk bad about him, but I felt like it was kind of
well documented. Yes, your feelings on him are well documented.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to see him go. Our offense has changed, and it doesn't mesh with his style of play anymore. So, it's the first time in a really long time that the trade deadline seems kind of exciting in San Antonio. Hopefully we do something. So I don't want to see Pirtle be our big man. He's good. We paid him for a reason. He's good. I would like to see a few more points out of him, kind of the same way you've wanted to see a few more points out of Draymond this year. His assists and his rebounds are there, but points wise, I would like to see him up it by 3 or 4 points.
Yeah, it's amazing how much. It doesn't sound like 4 points is a lot, but it really is. If you can break your average by 4 points a game, it does so much more for your team. Each possession means that much more, especially in the playoffs. As you know,
Right.
being a fan, watched tons of playoff games. Each
Right.
playoff possession is so much more valuable, so much more important.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I would love if it was a no LA Western Conference final. I think it would be great if it was Utah, Phoenix, Denver. I don't care. It would be great. I mean, with CJ coming back, Portland might be really
Right.
good. Who knows?
Right.
So it's going to be, no matter what, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm definitely looking forward to the next couple months of basketball. That's for sure.
Awesome. Well, let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you. I know you have some, shout that out, and we'll see you back next week.
Yeah. The easiest way on Twitter, either All Eyes on You Hoops, just the letter U, or SMan1720 are my two Twitters. My personal one has more talking about Central Michigan, where I went, who their women are going to the tournament. They're actually playing Iowa in the first round on Sunday. That should be a fun game. And then on my All Eyes on You Hoops is more my, obviously, basketball and recruiting service and all that stuff. And on my website, Podbean is the easiest place to find our Flagrant Friends podcast that we do every Tuesday night about the NBA. We actually did a live 2-hour show yesterday after the brackets came out. That was kind of fun. So yeah, anything basketball related, best way to find me. Usually not every Monday night. We try to keep you guys on your toes, but definitely any Monday night I'm needed, either the Warriors or the Wizards, I'll be here as well. And yeah, looking forward to another great week.
Thank you, Steve, so much. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
All right. Good night. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move back over to the East. A team that kind of had a hot week the week before last, and then this week cooled off a little bit. We have Kevin with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Hi, Megan. Good morning.
Hey, Kevin. How are you?
I'm fine.
Awesome. Talk to me about your Cavaliers.
2 blowouts, both with same points, 82 against New Orleans Pelicans and probably Boston Celtics. Okay, we are playing Celtics now. So Atlanta Hawks and San Antonio Spurs. I'm bad. San Antonio Spurs, Atlanta Hawks and San Antonio Spurs, I guess. I'm just mixing up right now. But yes, 2 blowout losses. New Orleans Pelicans versus Atlanta Hawks, both teams. And pretty bad performance against New Orleans Pelicans. In the third quarter, we just scored 9 points. But we also saw a return of Kevin Love and Larry Nance Jr.
I saw, Kevin had 2 minutes. He did go scoreless. Were they just kind of acclimating him to getting back on the court, you think?
Yeah, of course. It's a slow and steady process for Kevin Love because if he was assigned 10 minutes right now, it would slowly increase because they don't want to rush.
Absolutely. You absolutely do not. And even though this is, especially when, you guys are in 13th right now, you have 14 wins and 24 losses. So at this point, it's not saying like, oh, it's a lost hope for you guys, but no need to rush your superstar when you may not make the playoffs this year anyway,
Yeah, of course, because the changes which we right now with Jarrett Allen, Isaac Okoro, Darius Garland, Colin Sexton. So we are trying to make a whole lineup around these guys. And then when you get a veteran help such as Larry Nance Jr., Kevin Love coming in, Larry Nance was very good defensively before he got injured. So having Larry Nance at the starting lineup could help add some defense because we had around 132 points opposition scored. So we really need to cover right now to have our defense back to it. So it's great to have Larry Nance Jr. back.
I see that also. He got 26 minutes of play and he had 4 points and 4 boards. Absolutely he's going to have some rust. What type of injury did he have?
Probably he was facing something with his legs. Probably it was ankle sprain, I guess. Kevin Love was having calf. He was having a calf sprain, and it was injury he was causing again and again. And finally it happened in December, and then he had to sit down. So probably something like that.
So you guys have Miami tomorrow, and then the Celtics. Both of those super tough games. Miami seems like they're kind of heating up. They've made their way back into playoff contention. Jimmy's playing really well. They, they had quite a few injuries in the first half of the season, and it seems like they're kind of working that injury bug out of that. What do you guys need to do to beat Miami?
To keep Miami, first of all, gear up with defense. You need to stop Jimmy Butler, who has been heating up right now. Then we have Duncan Robinson, who is also trying to get some fire back. And if you see, the whole team has been performing very well. When you see players coming off the bench, they are being very impactful. The rookie Precious Achinova is also coming up. So right now we just need to focus on how to stop Jimmy Butler, because once you shut him down, the other players just start to get ice cold on the court.
Absolutely. Following that game, you guys have the Celtics on Wednesday, and who they've seen the return of Marcus Smart. And he kind of had a slow start as well coming back. He looked like he had some rust. So, that's a dangerous game coming up on Wednesday. You never know if he might be able to shake that rust off by then. And also, Tatum was in sync with their other top scorer, so Jaylen Brown. And they both got hot on their last game. So Celtics is a tough game. Then you guys play the Spurs on Friday, and then you finish up the week with the Raptors on Sunday. Spurs coming off of a really bad loss last night. We'll see what they bring to you guys. I think that we have a chance to win, but I think it might be a pretty close game. And then the game against the Raptors, they're also kind of like Miami. They have picked up steam again. So I think y'all split y'all's games this week. I give y'all 2-2.
Yeah, but the main concern right now is with Celtics, which you mentioned is apart from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, Robert Williams 3 has been playing a lot well,
Oh, okay.
and possibly if it happens, Brad Stevens can bring in Robert Williams 3 as a starter, and that would be a good matchup against Jarrett Allen, who is trying to set up himself in the starting five, and he's been playing very good. Yes, also Marcus Smart has been playing well. For San Antonio Spurs, first I feel bad about LaMarcus Aldridge. His time has come to an end.
Right,
But
absolutely.
the system has changed, and I am really liking the Spurs again. Obviously, DeMar DeRozan is playing really good.
Right.
So yes,
And we were missing DeMar last night in that loss. They were also missing Embiid, but for us, DeMar is our absolute best player. And Embiid is probably their best player, but they have better bench depth. So I'm not surprised that they beat us. I was not happy with the 35-point differential there. I would have hoped it would have been, we could have kept it to single digits, but we need DeMar. We absolutely need DeMar. He's the vital part of our offense.
of course, certainly. Missing DeMar might probably change the whole system of Greg's game, because again I reiterate on the same thing, that the previous season DeMar was a lot criticized for Spurs system,
Right.
and now he has gelled up so well that Spurs cannot sustain without him, which we saw yesterday night against 76ers. So yes, it's going to be a tough game for Spurs as well, because the team is going to play without LaMarcus Aldridge. So you need to see the system, how they are going to set up. Of course, our bigs can help a bit, but right now the trade market is also heating up. JaVale McGee has been into talks. Andre Drummond has been into talks. He is not playing. So right now Cavaliers are still going to see a lot of changes for me, and there are going to be a lot of in and outs right now. So I guess they should now focus on the young core which they are building up.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, I really appreciate you giving us a rundown for the Cavaliers this week. Good luck on y'all's games. And go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you.
Of course, you can find me on the Kev Pod, my podcast where I talk about football and basketball. Other than that, you can find me on Instagram with Kevin Somani, and also on Twitter with Kevin Somani11. And yes, I'll be here on the Sideline Sports on the NBA Carousel with Reagan Host. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to another team in the East. But this team is number 3. We have Cool McCain covering the Milwaukee Bucks. Hey, Cool, how are you doing? No sound right just yet? Any sound, Cool? Oh, it says you're muted.
Yes, that
Oh,
would be
there
me. My bad. Hello, Megan.
Oh, awesome. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and let you stay on camera for a second and run down the
Sure.
games while I step off for just 1 second.
Not a problem.
Thank
So Milwaukee had a great week so far. We had a game on the 11th on last Thursday against the Knicks. Won that one 134-101. We then had another game. We had the first of 2 games against the Wizards. So we beat them 125-119, and now we're playing them again tonight. Right now, it's 94-82. So we're looking good in that game. So since the All-Star break, we're 2-0, trending to be 3-0 after this game. That still would keep us in 3rd place, but it would allow us to kind of gain some ground. As right now, we're 2.5 games back of first, game and a half back of the Nets for 2nd place. I feel like we'll be able to continue to be one of the top teams in the East. No real major injuries at this time. So we're just kind of hanging in there, keeping the status quo, and just looking to see if we can hop into one of those 2 spots. Definitely looking at least being at top 3. So that way we can guarantee ourselves at least, a couple of first-round series. Obviously, we can get in 2nd place. We can get home series, not first round, but home series all the way up until the point that we can get to the conference finals. Yeah.
What I saw out of this game that you guys had against the Wizards, something that impressed me majorly is, I went through and I highlighted y'all's top 3 scorers, but, and you kind of figured those top 3 scorers, or maybe 4 or 5 are going to be in double digits, but you guys had 8 players in double digits last game. You had Giannis, who had 33 points. You had Middleton, who had 16 points. Brooke, who had 11 points.
11.
Drew had 18.
Yep.
Divincino had 10. I hope I don't butcher his name. Connaughton had 10. Portis had 24. And then Forbes had 10. That's not too surprising. Probably at least one of those was a 3-pointer.
Yeah, the fact that there's so many different guys that can, score and put up points. So even if you're having a game where Giannis is not playing his best, that's the amount of focus he's going to take. Any game, you're going to have to focus on him. You're going to have to do things to try to prevent him from doing what he wants to do. So with that being the case, it does allow other guys, if they can get their shots and do what they need to do, to be able to put up points. And it's also great to come out of the break and know that, hey, we have a balanced team where we can put a lot of points on the board.
Absolutely. That bench depth is what I've been missing from you guys. That's what I wanted to see in order to feel that confident that, because, you guys have sat at, the 3 seed pretty much majority of the season, whether you be at number 2 or number 3. I still felt like there was a few holes, and from this last game, I would say you guys have figured that out. And I think part of that is going to be Drew Holiday coming back, and I think it probably took him a little bit longer to get fully in sync and get over COVID. COVID is tough stuff. So I'm not surprised. We've seen other players have a really tough time with it. Jimmy Butler. So not surprised to see somebody else that have that tough of a time with it. But I would say, safe to say Drew's back.
Oh, yeah. And then just to try to help out with depth a little bit, we brought back Axel Tupane. He was on the team earlier, so he's back for another stint. Another veteran forward. He was in the G League, so he's a guy that's been playing, knows our system. He's been there before, so he can possibly give us a little bit more depth. And hey, there's nothing wrong with having more depth and more guys that already know your system and are veterans coming in. It's always a positive.
If you guys play like this, I see y'all being better than the Nets. I think the Nets, their make or break is going to be Kevin Durant. I think they're a great team. I think Kyrie's happy. He's playing really well. James Harden also happy, playing really well. I'm not completely sold on the Blake Griffin pickup. So, when it comes to that number 2 spot, I think that y'all are completely capable of getting that if we don't see Kevin Durant come back before the playoffs. If they're saving him for the playoffs and his health for the playoffs, and they're not exactly worried about that seed, I see y'all moving up to the number 2. If y'all maintain the rate of play that you're playing right now, and possibly giving Philly a run for their money. But I think Philly's that team to beat.
Well, I'll tell you, if you look right now in the standings, and I've been kind of monitoring this for the last couple of weeks, we've all been within 3 games of each other for probably the last 2 weeks. So, and that was before, the break. So it's really tight there. And like you said, I don't think Blake Griffin really makes them any better defensively. He's a guy that's probably later on in his career, a lot of injuries, so he's not going to be the same guy that we saw a few years ago. So while he can add some more depth, I don't see him as being a major piece, not at this point in his career. But hey, you never know if he gets on the right team and doesn't have to really be a focal point. Possibly we can see a little bit more than we've been seeing out of Blake Griffin. But I just think depth-wise, the fact that we have our guy, hopefully nothing happens and he gets injured. I think we're kind of ready to go, and I can see us making a real run for even the top seed. That's a position we've been in before, and I can see us at least trying to get back, to that position.
It's completely possible, especially with what I talked about earlier about that Embiid. He hyperextended his knee in the game against the Wizards on Friday night. And so he's expected to be out 2 to 3 weeks. I expect they give him 3 weeks. He is a difference maker when it comes to playoffs. So obviously give him the amount of time to rest without losing your home court advantage. I feel like is the safe way to go with Embiid. And they'll do that with Doc in place there. That's exactly what they'll do. So y'all do have a possibility at making a run for the number 1 seed. Is it important to you to be number 1? Are you okay with being 2 or 3? Where would you rather be?
You want to be number 1 because you want everyone to have to come to you for those decisive games. So if you don't want to be number 1, something's wrong.
I agree. Absolutely agree. Okay, so you play the Wizards again tonight. Then you have the Sixers, who we were just talking about on Wednesday. And then you have my team on Saturday. What team are you most worried about?
The Spurs, actually.
Really?
The 76ers without Embiid, we're still going to get a good game from them. But you have to ask yourself, who are they going to be able to put in the middle to contain Giannis without Embiid being there? And who's going to be able to match his physicality around the rim? So I'm not too worried about them. I mean, I think it's always a 50-50 game, but I'm not too worried about them. I'm more worried about you guys because you don't have anything to lose. At this point in the season, you're getting rid of LaMarcus Aldridge. You're figuring out what you're going to be moving forward. No other team knows it. You guys don't know it yet. So without being able to have a lot of film on what you guys are going to try to do, how you're going to play, who's going to be taking his spot, how the minutes are going to be different and things like that. You're the most concerning team that I see coming up on our schedule.
Awesome. I love hearing that. Since we've moved on from LaMarcus Aldridge and, we're going to have Pirtle starting. I see that. But I think another presence that you're going to have to be worried about in that lane coverage is going to be Rudy Gay. And, Rudy Gay has lost some weight over the last 2 seasons. And so he's more of a small forward now compared to that power forward that we saw before. But I think that actually has helped his agility and his speed. And so, he'll be quick to take it to the bucket, I think. And that's something where y'all are going to have to make sure that your defense is top notch. I don't know if I see Pirtle just really having standout games. He's had a few this season, and I don't dislike him, but he's not quite that lead that we need in center. So trade deadline is the 25th. We play each other the 20th. So no way we even clear waivers for whoever. If we made a trade right now at this exact moment, there's no way we'd clear waivers with whoever we decide to bring. So I think you guys probably win the game. I hope we make it a close game.
Well, like I said, you're the unknown. The most dangerous team is the unknown when I'm looking at it because everyone else you have film on, you kind of know everything. But you guys, you never know. And then, as you said, Jacob Pirtle could come out against us, and it'd be one of the games where he plays really well. You never know. Could be motivated. So it'll be, I think, a very good game. I'm actually looking forward to it. Haven't seen a lot of you guys because I know you had the COVID shutdown for a while. So it'd be nice to see the Spurs back on the floor. They're one of those teams that are always pretty good. He does a great job, Popovich, of using the players that he has and figuring out a system that works for him. So I'm excited to see what you guys are going to be.
Awesome. Well, why don't you go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you. I know you have your own show. Shout that out real quick. And thank you so much.
No problem. Of course, you'll always catch me here on the Carousel. You can catch me on Instagram or on Twitter at Cool McCain, Facebook Cool McCain, and also on my show Friday nights 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Play Callers Sports Talk Show. And if you're not able to catch it live, the replays are always there, so you can always still check us out if you're not able to catch it live.
Thank you so much, Cole. We'll see you next week.
No problem.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move over to a team in the West that just had some huge news. We have Bryce Lewis with the Portland Trailblazers. Hey, Bryce.
Hey, Megan. What's up?
Are you super excited to tell everybody the news? I'm excited, but I'm waiting for you to tell them.
Yes, sir. Lillard's running mate, CJ McCollum, will be back tomorrow for the Pelicans game. So we're going to have the backcourt back again for the first time since literally, I think, November, December. So good to have him back. Definitely much needed, especially in this second half of the season where, making that playoff push, trying to determine where we get seated at and everything.
Right. You guys are coming off of a loss to the Timberwolves. I was talking about that earlier in the episode, that I knew the Timberwolves have actually played a close game. Looks like Anthony Edwards got kind of hot on you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, the biggest thing right now that I think is always been an issue with Portland the last few years, of the main offensive firepower we have. We're not the best defensive team. We've usually been a team that we can score 120, but you can also score 120. And I think this is a game where Anthony Edwards was able to take advantage of that. That's why he had one of his best games, if not his best game as a rookie against us. Right. And that's why we weren't able to pull it out at the end. But I do want to give a shout out to Carmelo because he's played really well for us the last couple of games. He's averaging 20 points in the month of March. So he's been a really big contributor for us while CJ's been gone, especially during the month of March.
Agreed. I really think Carmelo has made a push. Now, I still say that Clarkson is probably Sixth Man of the Year just because of his consistency with it. But I would say right below that is Carmelo. And Carmelo is in, his 18th season. That's huge for him to still come in and be valid. I hope you guys give him a couple of bonuses for that, because I kind of thought you guys could have paid him just a touch more, not a ton more, but just a touch more. So, I hope y'all reward him for that. He's played really well. In that game against Minnesota, he had 16 points, 5 assists, and 4 boards. So definitely has picked up some slack. You haven't seen Rodney Hood exactly be the same player that he was for you guys last year in the bubble. So at least you have somebody coming off of the bench who's really stepping up.
Yeah, definitely. It's been really important. Like I said, Carmelo, kind of being that second scorer, you could say, for the most part, while CJ's been gone. And now he could go back to that natural third option, which I think that's where Carmelo can thrive at the most, just in case Damian or CJ has a bad night. But at the same time, one of them are still on the floor, so you still have to pay attention to one of those players, and then Carmelo can really take advantage of his one-on-one matchups.
You know who I've really enjoyed watching this year, and I added him to my fantasy team, was Trent Jr. He had 21 points in this game, also 2 assists and 4 boards. He was actually your number 2 scorer, right below Dame. I think he has also – I know Covington plays really well also, but like you said, sometimes they have off games and, can step in. I mean, Dame is going to do Dame. I don't see him really having off games. He had 38 points, 4 assists, 7 boards. So I don't really see Dame having off games like that, but great for y'all to have a little bit of depth right there. You've got Trent Jr. And then when McCollum comes back, I'm so excited.
Yes, sir. And also, I want to give an update on Nurkic, if I can give an update real quick. So they're saying that he should be back in 2 weeks. He actually did an interview during the All-Star break that he said he might be back the week after. But after the Blazers reevaluated him, they're gonna wait 2 weeks to bring him back. So in 2 weeks, we should be healthy with Nurkic back in the lineup as well.
I'm excited to see that. I know you guys have pretty much gone the entire first half of the season missing those 2 guys. So that's huge to see them back. You have the Pelicans tomorrow at 9, or you have a back-to-back with them, actually. You have them tomorrow, and then you also have them on Thursday. And then you have another back-to-back with the Mavs Friday and Sunday. Good thing you got a little bit of a break in between that. You have one day, you have Saturday off. Tough schedule, tough little matchup this week.
Yeah, definitely. I expect us, to come out. I think we might split the Pelicans, and also with the Mavericks. So I think we play twice coming up because we have this stretch right now where we play 3 teams back to back. So I think we should, if we can come out of this next 4-game stretch, maybe 2-2. I think 3-1 would be ideal.
Awesome.
Obviously, Pelicans are kind of the same team like us. Can score, but not the best defensively. So I expect those to be very high scoring games. Dallas is the same way. Very high scoring games. So if it's going to be a matter of just our best players playing well. I'm curious to see with CJ coming back tomorrow, how many minutes he'll get because obviously with the amount of games we are playing since the second half of the season is so condensed for every team. I know we're not going to want to go out there and say, okay, 38 minutes off the bat. So it'll be interesting to see what his minute restriction is coming back from that injury.
Yes, I'm very curious to see that. I think it's going to be probably about 3 weeks before we see you guys back at just 100% what we've been expecting to see out of you guys. And hey, that's pretty close to the playoffs right there. They have the playoffs starting like mid-May. It's mid-March right now. So by the time you guys get full force, we'll see you guys for about 4 to 6 weeks, just like that exciting Portland ball. I don't know if you guys finished number 1, but and you're number 6 right now. So I don't really see y'all finishing number 1. Utah has the easiest schedule in the second half also. So those teams, like you were talking about, you have a tough schedule coming up. Spurs have a tough schedule coming up, and we're right below y'all in the rankings. So I think you guys move up, but I don't think y'all move up past 5th.
Yeah, I was looking at the standings. I was like, more than likely, unless the Clippers have a slide and everything, I think we'll probably finish 5th, which is fine. Depending on how it happens, going up to 4 would be, nice too, potentially.
Right.
Just, get home court in the first round of the playoffs. So, but, I think this is a team that feels like they're battle tested and can go anywhere in the NBA and play against anybody.
Right.
And, with CJ and Dame, anything can happen with those two, They feel like they're one of the best backcourts, if not the best backcourt in the NBA. And so they're going to feel like, hey, they have playoff experience. They've been in tough playoff matchups. So I think they're just looking to, to get in there and just see what happens.
And for y'all to maintain the 5th or 6th seed for 12 weeks now into the schedule, that's huge. Like y'all maintained that same pretty much seed. Y'all might have been probably 1 or 2 seeds better had y'all been healthy this whole time. But, there's not a whole lot of teams that can play that well through that big of injuries at that time. So, congratulations to y'all's team and good luck on y'all's games this week. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and we'll see you back next week.
Yes, sir. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Bryce_2K. You can actually catch me on my podcast, the Sport Jam Podcast. We try to release shows every Friday, so you can definitely check out that when we get it out on my YouTube channel at Bryce Lewis.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, all right.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to another team in the West, but a team that's struggling some, the Houston Rockets. We have Jay Nelson.
Just tell the truth. You're trash right now.
You said just tell the truth. Y'all struggling, bro. You're struggling.
Before I get started, or before we get started with this segment, I know it's non-NBA related, but I just want to show everybody that the school I grew up a fan of,
yay,
the school I currently attend, where is it? Okay, there it is. Yeah, are going at it this Saturday in the first round.
Yeah, they are.
So
yeah, they are.
It's tough. It's tough right now. But anyway, how you doing, Megs?
Doing really well. I'm really excited about March. Last year, this is when the entire world basically shut down. We didn't have, every team pulling out of the March Madness tournament was kind of the start of sports shutting down. So excited to be moving on from that and, just being able to enjoy March Madness now. For the first time in, I want to say since like the 60s, some point in time, 63, 64, Duke is not making it. Kentucky is not making it. North Carolina made it, but barely by the skin of their teeth. They're barely in there.
It's a down year for them all around. I'm most definitely glad that it is back. Last year, there was no 2020 champion.
Right.
You know, at the last national title game was Virginia and Texas Tech. You know,
right.
The one where they had the game won in the last 10 seconds, and then they let it go to overtime. But
yeah, I really wanted to see Tech win that game, even though, I'm a UT fan, and, they are a rivalry school. They're still a Texas school, and majority of my family is Texas Tech alumni, so I have to act like I want them to win a little bit.
A little bit, just a little bit.
A little bit. All right, well, let's talk about your Rockets right now. You guys had a tough loss against the Celtics, but not exactly surprising. They had a missing piece come back into their lineup. They had Smart come back out and play against you guys. Now, he didn't play. He didn't have a ton of points. He did have some minutes. I think he was just probably shaking off the rust. So probably a good game for him to come back. What did you feel like was missing? I know no John Wall.
Yeah, no John Wall. John Wall's dealing with a left knee contusion. There are reports saying that he's gonna need surgery. But I'm hearing reports that he may not. He may just play on it. One of those injuries you just play on.
Oh, okay.
And maybe eventually by the season's end he might get surgery or something like that. But I actually was impressed with Kenyon Martin Jr. He had 21 off the bench along with 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks.
Okay, and this is Kenyon Martin that used to play for the Mavs. I didn't even know he played for you guys.
The Nets, yep. Mm-hmm. The Power Forward with the Nets that went to the finals with Jason Kidd. This had his son. Oladipo led the way with 26 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. I wasn't expecting too much out of last night. I really wish we would have made it tougher for the Celtics, but the Celtics got them a good win and whatnot, and hopefully that'll help them out in the East. Just shouted you out there, Jen. Christian Wood, Steven Silas said that once he gets back, his minutes will be restricted. I expected that.
Right, yeah.
It's just like what we talked about with Boogie, I really feel like the team is being centered around Christian Wood.
Yeah.
Coach Silas came out the other day and said something to the effect of basically everybody except Christian Wood is touchable on the Rockets as far as trades.
Oh, so okay.
Everyone.
Trade deadline is next week. What day it is? Wednesday? Is that right?
I think it is Wednesday. They're still talking about Oladipo being on the books. The last report I heard was Oladipo to Orlando for Aaron Gordon.
Interesting. Now, there was a rumor last year about the Spurs trying to pursue Gordon at the trade deadline then too. And that would have been interesting to see. So I guess I'm not too surprised to hear that there's some interest in him leaving Orlando. I'm not too surprised. And that would change things for you guys. I don't know if that puts y'all in playoff contention this year, but it definitely helps start building for the next year. And at 14th and 11 wins, you got to kind of start planning for next season.
Yes, absolutely. I'm at this point where basically I'm just kind of seeing what kind of team that we're going to have next year. We're just kind of plugging and playing and see who's always going to be like great assets next year. So This essentially has turned into an evaluation phase for everybody, and I'm all right with that. I'm good with it. When Wood gets back, we'll see. He will return to form. He's young enough. He's
right.
He will return to form and everything. I don't foresee a miracle run out of my team. If we do, that's great. But at the same time, like I said, just evaluate everybody, see what they got, and then form your starting lineup for essentially like next season. I feel like if you're going to we're going back to centering our team around the big man, kind of like back how we did with Elijah One and whatnot. Not so much the early 2000 Rockets, not early 2000, but early to mid 2000. When we had Yao Ming and Stevie Franchise,
Right.
It was supposed to be centered around Ming, and then Stevie Franchise just kind of did his thing, like how you play ball. But yeah, we're going back to. I think we're going back to centering around the big man and everything. And if we can get some youngsters, as a matter of fact, the Nets are still eyeing PJ Tucker, but Houston is doing right. They're asking for a high asking price. Like we want a pick or two, and we want a youngster. PJ's been in for a hot minute, probably about 14, 15 years.
So you think you'll get what y'all are asking for him? You think?
I think we might. I think that Brooklyn feels there's one piece missing for a title, and
I
Tuck
agree.
might be it.
I guess it depends on what they have available cap wise. You know, I know that they would really. Any team would probably really like Andre Drummond on their roster. I will say that Drummond is, for me, because we're looking for a big man, he's second to Vucevic. I want Vucevic.
You want Vucevic? Okay, then. I mean, you really can't go wrong with either one of them.
No, Vucevic brings more to the stat line, and he's averaging almost 5 points more per game. So, you know, that's who I want. He's international. We've always had an international vibe. We've always meshed well with international players. It's just kind of our gig, you know. We had Boban when he first came up, and he played for our G League team. So I think Vooch would be a great fit with the Spurs, and I think that Vooch is that good that he might put us in the Western Finals.
I mean, shoot, y'all's championship big three was not from the United States soil. So, because I mean, Duncan was from Virgin Islands, Tony Parker, France, Ginobili, Argentina. You know, so just stay away from American-blooded players unless they come off the bench.
Well, I think we're. You know, I love Luka too, you know, and Luka, I can't remember where he's from, but he's international as well. And I had always wished that we would have been able to draft him. So, you know, I hope we keep it that way. We have our own Luka that we called up from the G League, and he's playing pretty well for us as well. So, you know, I think for Houston, I think they just y'all have a great prospect in y'all's rookie, Sean Tate, who's playing pretty well. He does probably. You know, he had 9 points this last game. I think if he can bring that up to 12 or 13, I see this as a really successful rookie year for him. You know, and John Wall, I hope he doesn't have to have surgery. I mean, I realize that, you know, when you say that it's an injury that he can play on and then have surgery at the end of the year, that's just so scary when it comes to John Wall.
It is,
you know,
because he's coming off of that major injury. So, of course, when you hear John Wall injured, like, you're like, you know.
Right.
So, you know, but luckily everything came back good. Like, he didn't play last night. But they officially called it a left knee contusion, which is a bone bruise. Can it heal without surgery? Yes.
Okay.
They may opt to just do it just to get him back faster.
So you guys have the Hawks tomorrow, and then the Warriors on Wednesday. Now the Hawks are on a 5-game win streak right now. They didn't mess around and got kind of hot. So, you know, they got rid of their coach, and it seems like they've worked a few kinks out. Now, I don't see them making a super deep playoff run or anything like that, but they are playing a lot better.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, at this point, you can't take anyone lightly because, well, who the hell's worse than us? But at the same time, you know, maybe we would, you know, since we've started like this show, I've yet to talk about an actual Rockets win. So,
dang.
Yeah, I'm like the only one that's come on here whose team has not won yet.
Mike. He has the Timberwolves, maybe. Okay, and so then after that, you guys have the Warriors on Wednesday, and they played a pretty good game, their last game, and then the Pistons on Friday, and OKC on Sunday. So I think y'all have the potential to win some games. I think that the Pistons is a possible win for you guys, but they seem to kind of be playing the better teams at better, and the teams that aren't playing well, they seem to not play well against them. So that might be a winnable game for you guys.
It might be.
And OKC, you just never know what team you're going to get when OKC takes the court. So, you know, they might just hit a funk with you guys, and y'all might win that game. So I'm going to say probably not the Hawks, not the Warriors, but y'all can win that second half of your schedule this week.
Yes, yeah, we should be able to. And I mean, at least just to kind of get some confidence back and whatnot. Right. I mean, shoot, if Wood comes back and we go on some mystical 7-game win streak, I mean, I think we all knew what the issue was. Which is what I'm confident is what the issue is as well, because Wood was like balling, and then he went down, and then we just went on this skid, like literally ever since he's been out. And before that, we had won like 7 of 8. you know. But I want him to get back healthy and everything. I think Silas did right by protecting him. He's been wanting to come back too. Him being young and thinking he's bulletproof. He's been wanting to come back, and Coach Silas is like, no, you know, like, you know, let's preserve you, because we don't want another Boogie to happen, another John Wall to happen.
Absolutely agree. I mean, at this point, when you're at number 14, like I was telling Kevin with the Cavaliers, like kind of like at this point, you know, you don't want to rush that star coming back off of an injury when you're kind of already looking forward to next season anyway. So they might as well rest, get all the way healthy, and kind of, you know, go back to the drawing board and think, what are we going to do in the draft?
Exactly. And I think that we should have a good draft.
One positive thing for you this week, you know, one of your teams is going to win, UT or ACU. It's happening.
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
You guaranteed get a win this week for sure.
It's gonna happen. You know, whenever you attend college, unless you go to the school that you grew up a fan of, you're kind of always gonna have like two.
Right.
You know, so.
Why don't you go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you, where they can follow you, your other projects, and we'll see you back next week.
All righty then. You can find me on Twitter at NellyNell13. That's NEIINEL13. I'm also on the Sip Off, now on StreamYard, hosted by Megan Price. And I also work with VisD Productions. I'm the assistant chief security officer for them. I'm also tasked with writing a short book. It's 5,000 words. So more information coming back for that soon. Shout out Marshall Hill, Craig Davis, Unconventional Kings. We in there doing big things. Signing off.
All right. Bye, Jay. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for this week. You can find me on the NBA Carousel and Sideline Sports on YouTube or on Facebook. You can also find me on the Sip Off, which is on Saturday night at 8 Eastern on my page. Also, Megan Price. We'll see you guys back next week, next Monday. Bye.